Well, that escalated rather fast. During the spring this past year, along with the announcement of Sonic Mania, comes this trailer with what appears to be Sonic in a city of ruins, hinting at another Sonic game with a darker tone. And he's not alone, as for whatever reason, classic Sonic shows up alongside him, bringing us Sonic Forces. But hey, at least we don't have to worry about Final Fight Double Dragon Sonic this time around. Judging by classic Sonic's sudden appearance, I assumed at first that we were going to have a follow-up to Sonic Generations, which to some extent kind of was, but we were also being treated to a Sonic game with a post-apocalyptic setting, which after many times the setting has been used in past games left many cringing. But I really don't mind it actually. Already from the outset, so many have been criticizing the game before it can even be released, and I can understand where this is going, considering that what the game mostly contains in the earliest builds, such as modern Sonic gaining the boost ability back from Generations, and classic Sonic running through Green Hill for heaven knows how many times already, with 8-bit Sonic 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog being the only games I know that doesn't start you in a Green Hill-like setting. Perhaps the attention grabber is that for Sonic Forces, you'll be able to create your own character for the first time in Sonic history, with accessories that you unlock throughout the whole game, as well as downloading special costumes that are from different games, and select whatever species you want to give the character, with the type of species possessing a unique ability. Personally, I think it's a cool concept, especially when many of the Sonic community, or in this case ROM hackers, would take the physics and mechanics of some Sonic characters and create their own original character for their games. Now, the release of Sonic Forces actually happened 3 months after Sonic Mania, which is actually quite fast though. But what's good though is that the price point is actually not that of a typical AAA developer. Instead, this one is actually just $40, which in itself is actually quite fair. And hey, the game does sport some really good goodies like some free DLC, or even this really cool controller skin, which I have yet to place on my controller. So, what say we start the game? It is time for my review of Sonic Forces. And just to make the plot more sensical, even though the plot is not exactly that deep, I will try to combine the plot with the free episode Shadow plot. As usual, Dr. Eggman is fed up with Sonic and company foiling his plans time and again, until he came up with a new plan to stop him, by first attacking a city, which Sonic and Tails immediately spring into action, only for Sonic to be suddenly attacked by Metal Sonic, Chaos, Zavok from Lost World, and for some odd reason, Shadow. But then Sonic and Shadow are very much the series Goku and Vegeta. Following them is a new face in town who calls himself Infinite and defeated Sonic with ease. 6 months have passed and the world is very much under Eggman's control, and our characters are forced underground and formed a resistance faction led by Knuckles, with Tails nowhere to be seen somehow. Knuckles was able to recruit a new team member, which is your own avatar. Thanks to the costume DLC code, I decided to make my avatar a male bird and give him the Persona 5 threads. In Persona 5, you can name your character whatever you desire, though in the manga he is named Akira Kurosu, while in the recently premiered anime in Japan, he is named Ren Amamiya, So in Sonic Forces, he'll be dubbed as Ren the Crow. They banded together to conduct a plan to rescue Sonic. However, as you progress, and despite the 6-month gap, Sonic seems to be alright without any bruises, scars, or any signs of physical torture, and was able to defeat Zavok, who disappears after defeat somehow. Nonetheless, Sonic was rescued and morale started to rise up. While all this was going on, Tails was trying to repair an incapacitated Omega until Chaos shows up. On the verge of becoming roadkill, Sonic shows up and defeats Chaos with ease, only for Tails to quickly deduce that this Sonic is of another dimension. In this case, Sonic, after the end of Sonic Mania, where right after the final fight with Eggman and Heavy King of the Hardworld Heavies, the Phantom Ruby has become so unstable that it caused both Classic Sonic and the Ruby to be somehow transported, making Sonic Mania itself somewhat of a tie-in, while Sonic Forces itself is a follow-up of a recent modern Sonic game. In the Episode Shadow DLC, a month prior to the start of the whole story, Shadow, under orders from Gun, the same guys who tried to kill him in Shadow the Hedgehog and later works for them since Sonic 06, infiltrates an Eggman base after off-screen defeated and arrested Eggman's hired thugs called the Jackal Squad. It's from there that Infinite, whose real name is unknown and doesn't show his face, but is shown what he looks like in the comics, tries to ambush Shadow, but to no avail. Given his ability of chaos control, ended up defeated by Shadow in very much a squash match. His defeat from Shadow left him so furious he vows to obtain great power to prove himself stronger. The Ruby is in the hands of Eggman, and after talking a deal, Infinite dons the mask and uses the Phantom Ruby, thus giving him new powers, and encountered Shadow again, using his new powers to trap Shadow in a virtual limbo. Shadow was able to escape, only to realize too late that Infinite has already defeated Sonic, forcing Shadow and the others to hide in separate locations. Back to the main story, Sonic encounters Shadow, who is about to land a dropkick when the real Shadow saves Sonic in the nick of time. It's then revealed that Infinite has the ability to create soulless clones of characters and cause destruction anywhere. With everyone banded together, things seem to be going their way, especially after destroying the Death Egg, which they believe to be the power source of the Ruby. But the victory was short-lived when, after sucking Sonic and Ren into null space by Infinite, it's then revealed by Eggman that he had a backup power source within Metropolis. However, it was also short-lived for Eggman upon seeing Sonic and Ren miraculously return back to Earth. The Resistance tracked down Eggman and Infinite to the Eggman Empire Fortress on the Wastelands for the final battle, with Omega reactivated in time for the assist. But even then, Infinite has another move to pull, and that is to engulf the Earth with a massive sun, which kinda rips off Frieza, and to some extent Goku Black and Zamasu from the Goku Black saga of Dragon Ball Super. All seemed hopeless until Tails realized that Ren was holding the last of the Phantom Ruby prototypes, which he then used to stop the sun, giving the Resistance a chance to fight back. Sonic and Infinite go at it one more time, but Sonic was able to win the fight after an assistance from Ren, forcing Infinite to run away in disgrace, while Eggman hatches another plan by planting the Ruby into the Death Egg robot's core, only to be destroyed by the combined moves of both Sonics and Ren, erasing all evil clones once and for all. Classic Sonic then slowly disappears to return back to his timeline, the Resistance disbands to move on with their lives, and Sonic and Ren go their separate ways for a new adventure, ending Sonic Forces. Yeah, the story, like many past games, is not exactly deep regardless of the tone, but at least the story is not as asinine as Sonic 06 or Final Fight Double Dragon Sonic. The modern Sonic and Shadow stages give you the ability to use the boost mechanic from Sonic Unleashed and Generations, and as cool of a move that it is, it didn't exactly get utilized to its full potential like in Unleashed, but it is satisfying to mow down waves of robots with it. Also, with the DLC, Shadow can be played in certain Sonic stages after completing the stage once to select him, but sadly, in both main and Shadow stories, Shadow is mostly just a change in cosmetics as he can only perform chaos control in cutscenes. There are certain sequences that try to be cinematic, such as mashing the button to have Sonic and Ren perform double boost to take down robots in high speeds, or quick-time events by pressing buttons at the right time to jump from different ships or attack a giant snake before it eats Sonic alive. These are few and far between. As for the 2D sections, Sonic and Shadow control fine when you're on the ground, because when you jump, it's like your speed and distance have drastically decreased for no reason at all, as if both hedgehogs gain some pounds, and what's more is that the homing reticle comes by so fast, you really need to tap that button quickly or else it won't register. The double jump from Sonic Colors and Lost World return, but it hardly gives you any jump height or distance whenever you use the move, and many times, when trying to double jump, there will be random cases of input lag, and you find yourself colliding with something. It doesn't help either that you can't double jump while boosting. Classic Sonic is restricted to just a side-scroller, and I consider his gameplay to be the lowest point of the game for me. As he also seems to have some weight issues like the other Hedgehogs, his mechanics are that of Sonic Mania, in this case the drop dash, which I hardly use, no elemental shields like in Generations and past games before that, and only through spin dashing that he could ever move fast at all. I will say that having just modern Sonic and Shadow are fine enough, while having classic Sonic is really unnecessary what with his bland level designs, but then so are the modern Sonic and Shadow stages, yet I find them more tolerable for me to go back and practice until I get a good score from them. As for your avatar, it's modern Sonic and Shadow without the speed boost, and instead uses the power of the Wisp from Sonic Colors, but only if that colored Wisp corresponds with your weapon of choice. As for combat, you can also perform a homing attack on enemies or on special grapple points with your grappling hook, but what your avatar really uses is a weapon called a Wispin, a gun or melee weapon with properties of the Wisp that it's based on. Personally, the only two Wispins that ever mattered to me are the Burst Gun, as it can cover long distances and you can move while holding the button down while keeping the pace going, and the Void, which is basically the Black Hole Bomb and Squeeze Bomb from Mega Man 10 and Mega Man X8 respectively, as it sucks up enemies as well as any rings that are in view. I don't find myself using the other Wispins, with the exception of the Lightning for certain stages when I needed to reach some secrets, which I'll get into soon, and I never liked the Drill Wispin as it is a very clunky bionic arm. Seriously, Reboot Spencer, we hate you. Depending on the Wispin, avatars can use temporary abilities by collecting a corresponding Wisp type, such as Burst giving you multiple boost jumps, or Lightning Wisp giving you Lightspeed dash on rings. The downside is that unless you equip the appropriate Wispin, any other colored Wisp you get along the stage will do absolutely nothing, as if the game wants you to experiment with each of them, giving you the chance to train yourself on how to go about any situation, making the avatar stages having more replay value than the Hedgehogs. As you progress through the game, not only will you gain more gear to customize your character, but you also gain enhanced versions of the Wispins that'll give you an extra edge and benefits in battle. Counting Episode Shadow and the boss fights, the game has about 33 levels and about 13 secret stages, with the only way to unlock them is to collect the red rings, and unlike past games, these stages, what with the boost mechanic and knowing when to spin dash, these stages don't last that long and they end faster than expected, even more so than the Team Rose stages in Sonic Heroes. What's strange is that throughout the whole story is that there is no mention of the Chaos Emeralds at all, the very gems that have always been part of the Sonic universe since the very beginning, which is why the final match is somehow anticlimactic. But at least you get to download the free Supersonic DLC, and when you do so, you can select Supersonic before you start the stage, and on just 50 rings, you automatically turn Super. No special stages required, and it keeps the classic Sonic stages from being boring. While you cannot make the leaderboards at all with this DLC, at the very least you're not penalized from achieving a higher rank, and it makes stage missions like getting rank S on stages easier. As for the overall aesthetics, since I'm playing the PS4 version, the graphics look fine for the most part, and I do like how the camera pans in different ways during QuickTime events, but the same cannot be said for the enemy designs. I mean, they look average, but thankfully it's not as stupid as Sonic 06. The music, however, is mostly miss, with probably my favorite being Stage 2 Spaceport, and I do like the remix of Westopolis from Shadow the Hedgehog being used in Stage 1 of Episode Shadow. The music for the classic Sonic stages mostly suck. One would expect for remix versions of stages like Green Hill or Chemical Plant, especially when Sonic Mania did it so well. But alas, it is not to be. In my opinion, despite the flaws, I did get my money's worth with this game, and while the game is mostly shallow and short to some degree, at least you can go back and challenge some missions at your own leisure. The way I see it, given everything that I said about this game, Sonic Forces is actually average at best. It's obviously not as superior as Sonic 3 and Knuckles and Sonic Mania behind me, but thankfully it's far from being a really bad Sonic game like Sonic 06 or Sonic Boom. So to that end, I'm going to give Sonic Forces at least a 7. I still had fun challenging myself of replaying the stages for a higher rank and getting all of the achievements, and what really made the game fun for me would be all of the free DLC this game has, including Supersonic. Not the best, nor the worst, but it's actually fine for my take, and I was able to find some enjoyment out of it. Now I'm going to take a page from Some Call Me Johnny and also give out my overall opinion about the future of future Sonic games. Now in my own opinion, what the Mania team did for Sonic Mania, especially when I can't wait till Sonic Mania Plus comes out later this year, I think around August I believe, I think it's high time for Sonic Team to actually start hiring some up-and-coming programmers with knowledge of making 3D Sonic games. I mean, heck, it was because of events like the Sonic Amateur Games Expo that I was able to try out Sonic World, a free-to-play Sonic fan game with many playable characters from the Sonic universe, both common and obscure. You can play around with the many characters and explore to your heart's content. It's actually a really fun Sonic title. I think now is a better time for Sonic Team to give these upcoming programmers a chance to handle 3D Sonic games in the future. And if they do that, I'm very confident that they'll try to keep travesties like Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom from ever surfacing again. And just for the record, I do planning on making a 3D Sonic marathon soon, but just not right now. But I will say right off the bat, I do love Sonic Heroes. I can't get enough of it, especially when after the PS2 version I started playing the PC version a lot more, which is way more superior than the other three versions. But I will explain that in the future. And even though Shadow the Hedgehog's gameplay is definitely out of character for Sonic standards, I still find some enjoyment out of it. I mean, heck, the game does run on Sonic Heroes engine, minus the team play, but if you're used to the slippery speeds, then there's no reason for you to complain, and instead, you just gotta keep on practicing like I do in order to get your groove on, you know? Also, Shadow is just that awesome, even with the gameplay, giving him the anti-hero persona similar to that of Vegeta. That's why I preferred playing the Sonic games more so than the N Company's Plumber games. But keep in mind that I also do love playing the Plumber games. It's just that the reason why I prefer Sonic a little bit more, not only for the really fast gameplay, since that's very much the emphasis in just about any Sonic game, but also they also have characters with distinctive personalities very similar to that of Dragon Ball, which is no wonder why you heard me make some Dragon Ball comparisons throughout this video. As far as Sonic 06 go, well, I've mentioned enough of this in this video, but I will occasionally make some references into this, and I will do a really long review of this in the future, which, thankfully, it's not yet time, thank goodness. Otherwise, I'll lose my mind early, so we'll just put this on the shelf for now. Anyway, I hope you like what I had to say about this video. And if by any chance you like this video, well, if you haven't done so yet, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Just click on the subscribe button for any other content that I have. And don't forget to like and follow me on Facebook. Facebook.com/MusashiXReviews. So, what other games am I gonna tackle next? Well, just stay tuned and find out, folks. Until then, this has been Musashi X. I bid you all farewell, take care, and stay tuned.